I'd like us to go into some specifics now in terms of the sectors of the economy that you examined, that you looked at, to come up with this survey. And one of them is the financial services sector. We're looking at the fact that it recorded the highest confidence level of 32% in the third quarter of this year. What brought, what happened? What did you look at to come up with this projection for the financial services sector?
The financial services sector include banks, the capital market operators like the brokers, insurance company, pension fund, even bureau de change and finance firms. Taking these sectors and subsectors together, they have exhibited the highest confidence of 32%, according to the survey. Now, what are the factors that cause this? Of course, they've been on the top of the league table over the last 3 or 4 quarters. During this time, we've seen an impressive result, corporate action from the bank, from these banks. Even period ended June 31st, 2014, and even period ended March 31st, 2014. The results were good, even including the nationalized banks. That's a key driver of confidence among them. But if you also look at the number, you find out that for this financial sector, the level of confidence in this third quarter, relative to the second quarter, it has depressed a little bit by like 2 or 3%. So there are still concerns. And when you ask them, it's okay, the two sectors that have the most concern during the period are the bureau de change, because, of course, they increased the capital base up to, I forgot now, I think up to 30-something million naira, the capital base. And also finance company. They have up to July 1st next year to increase their capital base from what it is now to about 100 million. These are concerns. And even the banks themselves are also, they've seen the manifesto or the agenda of the new CBN governor, that he now wants to create jobs. He wants to focus on the economy more. And if he's going to do that, it means that interest rates have to be moderated a little bit. That will somehow affect most of the assets that these banks are holding. These are some few sources of issues or concerns to them. But even given all of this, they are the most confident sector during the period.
Okay, I'd like us to look at other sectors. We have agriculture here. We've talked about manufacture to a certain extent. There's been a decline as well in the confidence level in the agriculture sector, despite the fact that it's still a major contributor to the GDP of the Nigerian economy. Yeah, after rebasing. So it's quite a contradiction right now to see that for the third quarter, we may not see as much performance from the agriculture sector. We're seeing, according to what you've said, that it's likely to decline from 19% to 13%. Okay, we're seeing it drop from 19% to 13%. So is that an issue really with the agriculture sector, that despite the various ways and avenues of the federal government and even some state government, they're trying to transform it, they're trying to make it work better, they're trying to improve the capacity of those who are in the agribusiness in the country?
Yeah, before the rebasing of the GDP, agriculture was contributing about 33% to GDP. Post-rebasing, I think it's 22% to GDP now. Still on the biggest contributor to the national GDP. I just want to clear that. Is there any issue? There is no peculiar issue. The issues are still lingering issue. But one of the findings of this survey is that the momentum, the confidence, the excitement that operators in the agricultural sector placed on the heavily celebrated federal government transformation agenda is beginning to wane.
Why?
I think the minister and his people should be able to answer that question. There is an issue of inclusiveness. There is issue of this policy trickling down to the grassroots or to the poorest of the poor. We call them smallholder farmers. Issue of transportation, logistics, bad roads have not been dealt with. They are there, and it's not something that you can just wave overnight. But the major issue there is that the confidence or the trust they have in this transformation agenda have not been realized, and they are beginning to be worried, especially now that in the next few months, everybody is going to be talking about election campaign, who comes back and everything, you know. So the rate at which the implementation of that policy is happening is beginning to drop. It's still there, states are picking it and everything, but operators in this sector, whether they are in plantation, whether they are in crop, whether they are even in small processing, they are not as confident as they were last year and early part of this year.
Okay, I'd like us to look at the professional service sector as well. We're looking at, there's been a drop in that sector. What do you think is happening?
Professional service sector, we're talking about consultants, accountants, auditors, even research firms, and it's a whole lot of basket of operators. One of their key challenges is that the rate at which foreign consultants or foreign players are coming to take their job is on the high side. I don't want to call names. You know that the big ticket advisory, modeling, and everything, both on the buy and sell side, is being taken by international, even for big corporates, when they want to do little restructuring, even HR restructuring, immediately they fly out to UK or US, wherever, to get all this international. It's a concern to them. It's a big concern. Of course, this is peculiar to this sector. Other cross-cutting issues like power and everything is also dovetailed into it. But for professional service group, I think the influx of foreign players taking their former job is a big concern. Okay,
in terms of distributive trade sector, we've seen that recording an impressive jump from 12% to 20%. What do you think is going on here as well? It's quite one of those few sectors that seems to be looking good for business owners and even investors in general.
You know, distributive trade is a great sector, taking taking its place as the second sector contributing to the nation's GDP as we speak. They are confident because the Nigerian demographic situation and our lifestyles have not changed. We have a demographic structure that are mainly youths. We are energetic, we can consume, we can buy. And even our structure, even our lifestyle of consuming, buying, have not changed. The only concern to us is that what are we buying and what are we selling? 90% of what is changing hand in this sector are foreign goods we're selling for others, you know. So that is a challenge, but the confidence in this sector have never dropped because our population structure, we call it demography, is still the way it is, and our culture have not changed. Of course, it's a huge population. People are buying, people are selling. Little issues such as logistics, moving their goods from one point or the other, you know, fueling their small generator and all is still a concern, but because it's doing well better than the oil sector.
We actually don't have much time, but I want us to look at the oil and gas sector. There seems to be some concerns in some of these sectors, and operators in the oil and gas industry are mostly disturbed by the uncertainty surrounding the delayed passage of the PIB. That's a petroleum industry.
Have they passed it?
Delayed passage. Delayed passage of the delayed, is delayed. It's still been delayed. This is coupled with the emerging developments in the global oil and gas business. What do you think is going on, or what can be done to help, you know, fast track this?
Fast track the passage of the PIB.
Yeah, in your as a private sector player.
Yeah.
And I know that some of the members are also from the oil and gas industry as well. What have they been telling you? What has been their mood? Because I know you would have spoken to them. They would have, you know, you'd have asked them a few questions, you know, for them to have come up with this. What did they tell you?
Everybody operating in this sector is very disturbed, whether the ones in the upstream, downstream, and even the LPG. Everybody is disturbed because, though this is not a chamber figure now, but there's a conjecture that about $100 billion in investment is not coming into the sector because of the uncertainty presented by the delayed passage of the PIB. The PIB have been on the table over the last 14 years. You ask a question, the mood is bad. Everybody knows that. What are we doing to get it passed? We've been engaging the authority, begging them, advocating that we need it. Not just that we need it, that the economy needs it to move forward. Unfortunately, we are now approaching another election. Whether this dispensation of this legislative dispensation will be able to pass it remains to be seen. But as we speak, the bill have passed the second reading public hearing have been concluded. Is, you know, everything that needed to be done as an input to pass the bill have been done. I think where we are now is to continue to say what we're saying here, continue to advocate, and continue to tell the government that it is a win-win
situation
for everybody for this bill to be passed, and passed in the right content or in the right structure.
All right. Thank you, Vincent. I think at this point I have to let you go. I know that the telecom industry is another sector that I think to some extent has been able to, you know, do well to some extent, I would say. I know you're looking at the numbers more than I do.
Yeah.
But of course, now that there's been plans to privatize, to liquidate now, the former federal government owned firms, NITA and MTEL, perhaps we could see business confidence being boosted.
Yeah, it will.
All
will. But we just pray that the authorities will keep on dealing with the double taxation and regulatory harassment going on in that sector.
All right. I think I have to just let you go. Thank you, Vincent. Nwani. Vincent Nwani is the Director of Research and Advocacy at the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And he has been talking about the LCC and the Chamber's third quarter Business Confidence Index, which gauges the mood of investors, gauging the mood of investors. You know, it's more like a forecast that has been done quarterly to see what business owners and investors think about the Nigerian economy in general. And that's it on the Business Morning. Thank you very much for watching. We do appreciate your time with us on the program. I am Bolaji Akinwale. News Track is up next.